This video is made for adult collectors because this man is ruthless. I liked Tarn a lot. Like, it's a very good toy. It feels like a proper action figure first, but it still doesn't ruin the Transformer aspect of the Transformer. But if you take Tarn, make him orange, put the guns on his back, and give him a sword, it makes it so much better for me. It's surprising how much more agile the same toy gets when you give it a melee weapon. It's just, he's great. Bludgeon's main criticism to a lot of people is how much he shares with Tarn. And yeah, a new chest would have been nice. I think all of the stuff works pretty good though for both Tarn and Bludgeon. There are replacement chests out there if you want to get a new one. The colors are so damn nice on this toy. Like, I love all the bright greens and the orange mixed with the same shade of red as Gamer Megatron. And because the cannon is on his back and not on his arm, it makes the whole arm feel a bit more stable and less prone to bending inwards because that joint still doesn't lock in. I love the way the head looks, the way the paint glows inside the mouth and the silver around the face. I do wish the sword could mount better on the back, so like the handle sticking out over his shoulder. You can rotate the backpack to like make that work, I guess, but it still doesn't look right. He's also pretty flat. Like, I do wish he looked less like me and more like traditional Bludgeon, where he's a bit more bulky. But he has to, like, fold into a pancake to become his ult mode, so I get it. Now, the biggest and coolest thing is the Evo Fusion. That's the thing, right? 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 Okay, no. The coolest thing about this toy is the posing. So I'm going to shut up and just show you some of the amazing things he can do. So, very, very posable ninja. Very, very posable ninja. Like I said at the beginning, the articulation is exactly the same as Tarn's, but because he has a stick instead of a cannon on his arm, it just feels more dynamic because you can do more with the sword. Anyways, we're going to remove the sword, and we're going to get into his articulation. So you got a head ball joint that can do pretty much anything you want, and it's on that transformation hinge, so it can look up quite far, and it can look down pretty far. Shoulders can rotate, they can go in and out. They are trigger happy shoulders, which is kind of annoying, but they're a little bit more manageable here, kind of like Rise of the Beast Prime. They don't actually get in the way of anything, and they look good either way, which is nice. You got bicep rotation, elbow bend. You have this inward joint that's just for transformation, but because he has this, he can two-hand his sword, which I think is very, very good. I'm glad that that joint's there. Wrist rotation, hinged fingers, waist rotation. Now, whenever you're messing with the waist, this likes to move a lot. And then you're like, oh, I'll go fix it. But then it misaligns itself from the gray piece. And you got to like, it can get a little annoying, that part. Hips can go forward. They can go back, in and out. You got thigh rotation. You got a single jointed knee. And then transformation hinge for a double jointed knee, which, you know, is very helpful. Down foot, up foot, ankle tilt foot. I do wish the ankle tilt. I wish the ankle tilt could go in a little bit more, but that's my only real posability complaint are those ankles. Everything else on this guy is superb, but then you put the sword in his hand and he just looks a lot more dynamic. Because with Tarn, you can do cool cannon poses, but like there's only so many poses you can do of a cannon pointing straight out, right? With this guy though, you can get that sword any way you want. It would have been nice if his wrist could go down, but its transformation doesn't really, there's no space for a joint like that in there, so it's fine. But it is still very cool, very solid. The cannons do go up and down if you want to move them, but whatever. So the robot mode is fantastic. It looks superb and it feels great and it poses so damn well. Now let's make it dog's barking. Now let's make it a pancake tank. Now the Tarn Mould's transformation is very good on Tarn. On this, there's one problem with the new tooling with the head that does get in the way somewhat. So we're going to remove the cannon just because it makes life easier. I'm going to get the feet straightened out and pegged together. And then I'm just going to unclip this now. I'm going to take this, bring it out. Now, one thing I never liked about the Tarn transformation is the shoulders. I didn't like the way that this chest and shoulder thing works. You got to pull the chest up a little bit, pull the shoulders out, rotate them. Now, these don't pull out all the way like Tarn's do. Mine sort of stops. So you got to like finagle it to, there we go. Get it around. I'm gonna rotate this while we're at it as well, just so that it gets out of the way. And then you slowly rotate the chest up with the shoulders to make sure everything lines up and the chest doesn't pop off, because the chest does like to pop off. Oh, it's popping off right now, actually. Okay, it popped all the way off. But here's the problem. The new head with the little horns, it bumps into the bit at the back, and so you gotta like finagle it around and then getting it out. What I like to do is maneuver the antlers on his helmet so that they go through that little gap there, and that gives you enough clearance to pull the head back out. But yeah, the head does get stuck every once in a while because of that new head design. Let's just pop the chest plate back on. Yeah, there we go. Bring that down, fold these cannons forward, bring up the feet. There we go. Stay. There we go. And then you just sort of do the arm stuff. I think it's this way. Yeah, it's this way. I do wish that the treads had rolling wheels. Would have been nice, but whatever. I will say the subtle little angle that the arm creates when you do this sort of outward bend thing is... Oh, I popped that completely off. That's never happened before. Get back on there, idiot. There we go. The subtle bend that this arm creates to make the treads fold in is actually quite genius. I really like the way that that works. And of course, exposed fists, but I don't care. And then the cannon, you just sort of, well, you leave it in this configuration. You take it and you just peg it in. However, these are on backwards because this little thing sticking out the top will bump into the leg. There we go. Now the tank is put together the correct way and the treads are bending. Yeah, the transformation I'm not the biggest fan of. I'm just gonna peg the sword into like here. I'm not the biggest fan of that transformation, but that tank mode's nice. So that's a flat tank, but it looks really cool. It's a tank with layered treads. It's great. The turret does rotate and go up and down and likes to come off mine sometimes, which is a bit pain, but Tarn didn't do that, but Bludgeon does. It's a nice size too. It's about the size of my hand and it feels super solid. I just wish it had rolling wheels. Like they're molded in there, but they doesn't have actual rolling wheels, so he just slides. But that's really all there is to say about the tank mode. It doesn't really do much spectacular other than rotate his turret. But yes, I do recommend this. Just get one. Like, it's really fun and it looks fantastic. I'd pre-order it now or buy it now before it disappears like Tarn did. I got this at GameStop, so like I would totally recommend finding it now before it's too late. Just go get it. It's awesome. I recommend it. Of course I do. It's Bludgeon. I can't not recommend Bludgeon. I love the design of Bludgeon so much. I'd love to see what he looked like if he were to show up in a movie. That'd be awesome. But yeah, this as it stands is probably one of the best Legacy toys I think we've gotten so far. But that's my look at Legacy Bludgeon. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.